1, 2, 1, 2, go.
Welcome to Tourism Talk. I'm Laura Schomburg, Marketing Director at the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau. Watching and participating in sports continue to be a major motivation for travel. Here in Paducah, we've hosted everything from tennis to water skiing to baseball. Today, we're going to introduce you to the National Club Baseball Association World Series, a wonderful event that comes to Paducah, bringing 8 teams from across the country and spectators to follow them. We have Sandy Sanderson and Christian Smith representing the National Club Baseball Association, and Fowler Black, Sales Director at the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau, who has worked with this event. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining us. I guess a good place to start would be to let you two introduce who you are and your roles in bringing this tournament here and what your organization does, not only in the baseball activities, but other sports as well.
Yeah, I'll first start. My name's Christian Smith, the Vice President of Baseball Operations. I specifically oversee all of our baseball league. I think Sandy will touch on more of CollClubSports and what that's about. But I strictly work in the baseball side of things and was worked with Fowler, and he was very instrumental in helping our organization get down to Paducah for the last 2 years, and this being our third World Series event in Paducah.
We're so glad to have you back.
Love to be back.
And it's my first time in Paducah. I'm excited to be here. I'm Sandy, President of CollClubSports, and we're the national governing body that oversees collegiate club baseball, the Christian that runs directly, National Club Softball Association, National Club Football, which is tackle, not flag. A lot of people assume we oversee flag football, but no, it's 11-on-11 college tackle football. And then National Club Basketball Association, men's basketball.
Great.
And excited to be here.
Wonderful. And I guess you talked about collegiate sports there. Tell us how this organization and these divisions compare to the NCAA.
Well, one of the biggest difference is where the funding comes from. When you think of NCAA sports, you're talking about kids that are on scholarship, getting their tuition paid for. The school is providing buses, flights, uniforms, professional coaches, etc. The big difference here is these student athletes are paying their way, not just academically, but they're paying to be on the team. They're probably 95% of their team budget is self-funded through player dues and fundraising efforts. There might be some kick-in from the university, especially if they get as far as to a national championship tournament like this. But that's the biggest difference. And the off-field operations of the team, the general manager, so to speak, is a student. And it develops a real good opportunity for almost like an internship while in college. You're learning some real-world valuable skills, just managing a team of your peers on and off the field. Absolutely.
We've seen a lot of leadership from the players that we've met through your
organization.
it's
I always tell, especially seniors and guys that are the presidents of the team, if you ever need a reference, I will be more than willing to give you that reference, because you're going to school and running a baseball team, and it's basically a 40-hour-a-week job, if not more. So these kids are learning so much from running this baseball team that will translate into the real world when they get their full-time jobs. But I think the community, Sandy mentioned, the funding's coming from the players themselves, and I think what people really love about club baseball and all of club sports is the fact that these guys aren't playing to play in the major leagues. They are playing truly because they love baseball. So I think communities really see that passion of the play, and communities really rally around it when they get to see, and hopefully the community will come out and get a chance to see these ball players.
And you'll see there's so much financial investment by the players for these teams to exist, and sweat equity is there. Yeah. So when you see so much invested personally, what they put on the field is just a max effort, max enjoyment for the game. It's really something exciting to watch.
That's wonderful. Fowler?
What I've really enjoyed seeing is watching the passion come out and it's really as somebody who wants people to enjoy the community as visitors, to see the appreciation level. I think that's the difference. If you've got skin in the game like these college players do, they enjoy and appreciate the moment.
Yeah.
And that is what I've enjoyed about NCBA and this organization, is that they're bringing passion to our community and they appreciate the moment.
That's wonderful. Great
Well
way to
said.
sum that up. Yeah. So I guess that's a good segue into tell us about the event that is here this year. You've been here for a couple of years with Division
Yep.
II.
Yeah, we've the last 2 years, 2013 and 14, we had our Division II World Series. And to kind of give you a background, the NCBA is so large; it's 270 teams. We have broken it down into Division I and Division II. And yeah, 2013 and 14, we had our World Series event here, and just exceeded my expectations, exceeded the players' expectations, the fans, the parents that came in. I think it's, and not to be offensive, but I think a lot of people, when they hear Paducah, it's probably the first time they've ever heard of Paducah. So it's making sure when they get here, they're experiencing everything Paducah has to offer. And when they leave, Paducah was awesome. We want to get back. And I even heard some teams at our Division II World Series this past week say, we wish we were back in Paducah. But it's just been such a great experience that, working with Fowler and Doc, that I wanted to make sure if we had availability at Brooks Stadium, that we needed to get an event here. And it just so happened to work out that the stadium was available this week for our Division I World Series. And as soon as I heard that, I think the contract was basically already in place, and it was just getting some signatures and getting things finalized. But we're thrilled to be here. We're excited that we're coming back for next year. So it's a win-win for everybody involved.
Right, and I think that's sort of the mark of a good sports event, when the venue, the destination matches so well with the event. So we are absolutely pleased to host you all, and have seen some great baseball in the past couple of years, and know that this year and subsequent events will continue to be that way.
Exactly.
I guess Fowler's and Christian, maybe you all can speak to how this relationship came to be, how you all connected.
Yeah, sure. I really have to give credit to Brooks Stadium here, because the reputation of Brooks Stadium in the college baseball niche is a good one, and it's out there. And I think that it was on Christian's radar, and he just happened to contact me, and I was a portal to the opportunity. So really, Brooks Stadium is a gem. It's an asset that all people and citizens in our community and region really need to experience. It brings out Americana at its best. 1940s era stadium that is the stewardship of the facility is at its maximum with Doc Heidig and his crew, Brooks Stadium Commission. And so I really feel like putting that to good use is great, but also allowing our own people to discover it. And I don't think enough people know that it's there. Now, it gets good use from Paducah Tillman High School, from some of the regional tournaments, district tournaments, but when you get some high caliber baseball like this from some flagship universities that are, and we'll get to the list of 8 teams that are here now, but I think that it's an opportunity missed, especially if you've got a family, and it's a family-friendly event, and the best way to enjoy spring.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off what Fowler said, I think from what I remember, Team Kentucky or Sports Kentucky, I forget what they have a really great website where you can basically just search what has athletic sports venues, and you click baseball, and it has a list of every city in the baseball field in that specific city. So it made it very easy, and I think that's kind of how I found Brooks Stadium, and I saw how beautiful a stadium it was, and that's when I got in touch with Fowler. And I think the first time we connected, unfortunately the field wasn't available, but but when we finished with our previous event, my first call was to Fowler and saying, I want to get on the books as quickly as possible because just how nice Brooks Stadium was. So. And
to finish answering your question, I do think that Team Kentucky is another way in, and it is this sort of this communion of communities throughout the state and we are able to attend marketplaces. But for our collaboration and teamwork, we wouldn't necessarily be able to afford these marketplaces on our own. So that has helped us to get exposure. And that was actually more or less a follow-up opportunity was through a sports marketplace called Teams. And we've been able to sustain and maintain our relationship through that marketplace.
Yep.
Wonderful. And I would assume that obviously with your other events, you have some other venues and destinations for those championships. Sandy, would you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. We, for our National Club Football bowl game, we use Salem Stadium in Salem, Virginia, which is home to the Division III Stag Bowl. Our Division II World Series was this past weekend in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Our softball World Series was this past week in Columbus, Georgia. And our basketball national championships for the last 2 years have been at LaRoche College in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Wonderful. We're glad to add Kentucky to that list
Absolutely.
here in Paducah.
Excited to be here for it.
Great. You spoke a little bit about Division I, Division II, 270 teams.
Yep.
That's a lot of club teams.
Yep.
How does that division differ? How are those teams?
Yeah, because I think the NCAA, it's more of the size of the school, correct? But in our instance, Division I teams are the teams that have been, around for a very long time in our league, are very well established, very well organized. It's a well-oiled machine at this point. Division II teams are teams that are still figuring things out, figuring budgeting out. They're usually a smaller number of players on the team, just less experienced. And that's kind of how our breakdown goes. Any new team that joins the NCBA has to start at the Division II level to just kind of figure things out because it is, budgeting and scheduling and travel planning. All that stuff needs to be figured out. But once you do get it figured out, it becomes a well-oiled machine. And the next step is to get to Division I. And, our Division I teams are the best of the best. And these 8 teams that are here in Paducah are the 8 best club baseball teams in the country. So
wonderful. I think that this year's bracket is a great example of how this sort of translates.
Yeah.
Teams from all across the country, literally.
We have a fantastic set of teams this year. University of Oregon, Arizona State, the University of Illinois, Iowa State, University of Texas at Austin, East Carolina, Florida State, and Penn State are all going to be here in Paducah this week. And, it's every single one of those schools is a well-known school. So, we really hope the community can see that list of teams and will come out and watch some baseball.
Absolutely.
So.
I think that gets some attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you see the bracket.
When you hear those names. And, if I was a local Paduchian and I heard, that's right, correct? Paduchian, whatever
Close
you want to
enough.
call us. Okay. Sorry. Sandy looked at me weird, sorry. But I think if I were to hear schools like that coming to my community, it would definitely interest me. So
definitely. And how many players are on a team? Spectators are coming along with them. What does that look like?
Maximum roster size is 33 allowed. On average, you're going to be in the high 20s in terms of players on the field. Travel-wise, ECU always travels very well. Penn State always travels very well with parents and fans. Some of these schools we haven't seen. Oregon hasn't been back to the World Series in I think like 6 or 7 years, so we'll see how they do. Arizona State's making their first appearance. Right. Same with Iowa State. So some of them we don't really have a background on how they travel with parents, but Texas always does a good job of bringing a lot of people. So
Illinois is not too far.
Yeah, Illinois is not far, so they should be coming in droves.
Yeah.
What I love about an event like this is that, but for the event, they would have never come to Paducah, much less maybe Kentucky, and sort of shadowing what Christian said earlier. They most likely have not heard of Paducah if they were born and raised on the West Coast.
Right.
And so in a way, it's sort of spreading the gospel of a community, and hopefully these guys will feel the same.
Sure.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think is very unique about this event is, they're all in town to play baseball. They spend a lot of time not playing baseball. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity here for Paducah to showcase itself to these players and fans who are going to be looking for places to shop, places to relax and take in recreation. Because they're not, if you win day one, you're off day two. So there's a big opportunity here for them to get out in the community and really experience what the area has to offer.
And that is why we're thrilled to have Division I here, because Division I stays in the market, in the community 2 to 3 days longer than Division II. Is that right?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Division II is I think it's a 5-day tournament. Division I is a 7-day tournament. So yeah, I mean it's hotel nights are longer, stays are longer, teams are here longer, so the impact is obviously going to be not much bigger, but bigger than D2 was.
Definitely. And you all have done a lot of work to help connect those players for that downtime with some other Paducah experiences. And I know this year we have a couple of breweries to add to that list, but I know you talked about them enjoying downtown and some of the things Paducah does have.
I'm just really, really excited because I love the when I first did a site visit with a colleague of mine, Fowler put us up in this beautiful condominium right in historic downtown Paducah, and it's just a beautiful part of town. I mean, the row homes and all the restaurants and right along the river. So I loved it down there, and it's been a goal of mine these last 3 years to really push teams to get down there and to experience that part of Paducah. It's very easy where we're staying. We're staying at the Drury Suites, and there's a Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant. It's very easy for them to just walk out the front door of the hotel and go to Buffalo Wild Wings. So it's really been an effort of mine and Fowler's to really figure out ways to get teams to, really experience downtown historic Paducah, because they can go to Applebee's or Buffalo Wild Wings when they get back to campus or back home. But being able to bring their money to if you want to call them the mom and pop type restaurants in historic downtown Paducah is the effort that we're trying to get them to do. And found out that a team is having a team dinner down at I believe Cynthia's. So yeah, I'm excited that the teams are going to be able to enjoy historic downtown, because we do have a lot of sponsors for this year's event that are located down there.
That's great, and I know Fowler and I mean, we love to see visitors of any type and experiencing that essence of Paducah, and downtown is the place for that.
Yeah,
because it's what makes us different from another place. Those places are differentiators, what I often call your sense of place, and that is we want them to discover the characteristics there. So.
Wonderful. Well, I think, not only are we connecting the players with the community in that way, we're connecting the community with the players through some really great partnerships with students. I know there's a home run derby this year, which is very exciting. Talk a little bit about that.
But we also do the clinic, which is maybe my favorite part of the tournament, and maybe the players' favorite part of the tournament too, to just hang out with local, youngsters from Paducah, teaching them things about baseball. It's just a really good time. And in the past, I don't know if we're able to do it this year or not, but we've done field trips where it's a school come out, and the educational part, they get to watch baseball, but they also get to ask players about college and different things like that. So those things have been great events for the World Series, and we're going to continue to do those this year as well. So we're really excited about it.
And that's where I think that this makes this event as special, is because it goes beyond economic impact. It goes into community and personal impact, and there's a relationship there that honestly can either plant a seed or make a difference that we don't necessarily notice, but might stay with a child who had an interest and thought, oh, well, I'm not maybe I can't compete at the highest level of collegiate sports, but there's an opportunity out there for me. And or be a college athlete somewhere and know how to manage your time with your schoolwork. And that's what the great thing is, I think, about that Q&A session. And the players have always been so willing and just a wonderful way in that's different from competitive athletics.
Yeah.
Right. And I know, I mean, in the past years, we have had some field trips that come out, and teachers, long after the fact, have talked about their students, continuing to talk about the relationships they made.
Great.
They were new fans of the teams. You know,
Yep.
the players get sort of a new fan base
Yeah.
during their stay, and it really does make an impact.
It does.
And with the athletes, like we talked about, they are balancing school with a full-time job and athleticism. So.
Yep.
And with all our organizations, there's academic requirements to remain eligible to be on the field. So, you know, putting on events like this just keeps them motivated to keep their grades up, because they know, you know, if they let their academics slide, then they're going to be watching from the stands versus putting on the uniform.
Right. Well, we are so excited to have this here this week, and I know that we did mention that it's going to be an annual event for a few years.
Yep.
And I guess speak to a little bit about the timing of the event within the summer.
We has it been since day one? Or at least recently it's always the Friday right before Memorial Day.
Yeah, it's always been that way for 15 years.
And speak to why that.
It you know, the tournament, like everything in life, it's evolved over the years. This event didn't used to be 7 days. It was originally 5, and with Memorial Day being you know, a long weekend, it just opens up a little more freedom for families to travel.
Right.
It's after school, our college has ended, after finals and graduations and so forth, so we're clear of that stuff. And you know, we find for starting on a Monday versus a Thursday, you know, we just get a little more out-of-town travel associated with the tournament, because you know, now you take off 1 day of work, you got Monday off anyway. There's 4 days. You're all the way halfway through the tournament without taking much time off work. And then, of course, their kids still heading to the national championship game. They're not going to run out of town. They're going to call in sick on Tuesday and Wednesday. So that's how that's evolved.
That's wonderful, and we love that for the reason that locals can experience that as well. And it's a great opportunity. And I know Fowler's right here, but I have a little quote from him from Paducah Life. The Paducah Life featured the NCBA World Series this year, and Fowler said, "The NCBA and these teams discovered a sense of place here in Paducah. That's how we know we've succeeded as an organization. Now we want those who live in Paducah to know that this place is theirs and to come and experience a piece of quintessential Americana." We have such great teams to experience that with, and it's been a pleasure to work with you all. Is there anything else that you all would, I guess, want to bring to light about NCBA or CollClubSports in general?
You know, I think Fowler talked about the family atmosphere at the ballpark. I mean, you know, it's, you know, whether you're an Oregon fan or an Arizona State fan or just a fan of baseball, I mean, come on out to the ballpark. I mean, how often is Arizona State going to be playing in your backyard?
Right.
Yep.
And come on out and experience it. You're going to love it. It's where can they get the schedule? The website is.
If you want, our website clubbaseball.org, there's a World Series link. Click on that, and they can get all the information, ticket pricing. You know, the bracket is up there, all those types of things, all the information they would need to know. They can visit that website. And just piggybacking off of Sandy, I just really hope the community can come out and experience these ball players. You know, it's just, they're great guys, great teams. It's a great ballpark, and you know, we're going to have in-game promotions during the event. Sandy's actually going to be the in-game promotion guy. So we have a lot of.
Got to sharpen up on my Paducah trivia.
Yeah, exactly. So we try and make it just an awesome event, and you know, the last 2 years have been great, so we don't expect anything different. So yeah, come on out. We really encourage everybody to come out.
Great. Fowler?
Yeah, that's the main thing I want to get across this year, is that our locals need to discover it.
And this is especially such a great year just because of the list of teams that are coming. Everybody knows every single one of those teams or schools or universities. So
Wonderful. And how did those teams, is it a regional basis?
yeah, they had to work very, very hard to just get to this tournament. They had to play through conference, win their conference, and if they won their conference, they moved on to a postseason regional tournament. And if they won that regional tournament, they made it to the World Series. So it's a long, it starts in February, and this is the culmination right here. And it's been a lot of hard work for these teams. So it's you know, we as a staff want to put on just a world-class event for them, just because they worked so hard to get here. And you know, like I said, our goal is just to be servicemen to them. So,
And one of the, you know, as the founder of the organization, I can speak very directly on why this organization came to fruition. And club baseball existed before we did, but there was no league, there was no playoffs, there was no championship, there was no uniform set of rules. It was just traveling around the country, playing other club baseball teams because we like to play baseball and we like to make road trips and be with our, you know, 25 of your best friends that all share the same interest in the same sport. So when I graduated, these teams that we were in contact with turned to me and said, Sandy, can you start us a league where we're going to have a uniform set of rules? We're going to have a postseason and a national championship. So this organization was founded for this tournament, to put on a national championship and to crown one team #1 in the country. And that's been our primary objective since day one. And so we put a lot of stock and a lot of pressure in my VP of baseball operations to make sure that the national championship we put on is spectacular for these kids. And I'm excited to be in Paducah. This is my first trip. I've only been in town for about 24 hours. I'm excited about it. Christian's been talking my ear off about it for 3 years now. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the D2 the last 2 years, but I'm excited to be here now, and I can't wait to play ball tomorrow morning.
Wonderful. We are so pleased to have you all here and have this event in Paducah. And like they all said, locals, get out and experience this wonderful talent in baseball action at historic Brooks Stadium. Thank you all for joining us today.